I'm ready when you are here.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Becca, you want to do roll call first, please?
Monica McHugh,
Here.
Tom Stewart,
Yes.
Christine Bob. Here. Ryan Venema,
Here.
Emma Keith. Here. Sandra Gerlach.
Here.
Mike Burke.
Here. Does anybody want to look over the minutes from the previous meeting, which is under the orange tab, right? And corrections or additions.
I move that we accept the minutes of last meeting.
Do we have a motion? Does anybody second?
I'll second.
3 seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Opposed. Okay, we'll open the work session for the preparation of the Jackson County zoning ordinance update project with Laura Karstens. Laura, you there?
Sure am. Hello, everyone.
Okay. Yellow tab. Go ahead, Laura.
Can we move to the cover page of the packet, please, Becca? Oh, the one, yeah, there we go. Okay. Can you rotate that for them?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so what we have tonight are, we've got 5 items. I'd like to suggest, in the interest of time, we're really kind of skim over the very first one. Chapter 4 is a chapter separated out for the Board of Adjustment. We do have some legislation before the Iowa legislature is looking at some changes to the role of the Board of Adjustment. So basically all we're doing is, in this one, is we're taking whatever the board already has adopted, putting it all in one place, reordering it a bit, and then we're on hold until we hear from have a decision from the legislature. So we'll be bringing this one back to the Board of Adjustment and to you. So if you're all right with that, I'd like to go ahead and jump ahead to the second item, the matrix of land uses and parking recommendations. That's okay? So you can go past all the red line here, Becca, and all the clean version of the Board of Adjustment chapter, and just go to those spreadsheet matrix.
I'm sorry. I was in the other thing. Were you asking me to move?
After page.
You need to change the page to
Thank you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
right there.
No, keep going all the way to the spreadsheet pages. Oh, there they are. Okay,
Really hard to read, but we're gonna they have their hard copies in front of them, so we should be good.
Me too.
okay. You're not able to adjust the size on this? Okay, that's fine. That's okay. No worries.
To a point,
Okay.
not
So
well, unfortunately.
No, that's okay. We're good. So this is the revised draft from what you saw last month. What I did this time was, if there were changes, I have them highlighted in red and yellow. So basically the items that are highlighted that way, that's something new from last time. So this first part of the spreadsheet is the general land use category. So these are the broad general categories that we're using to simplify the list of uses in each district. Primarily the changes here where I wanted to make sure that if there were any changes in parking regulation recommendations from what you currently use, you could clearly see that, and that's what we're showing here. And Lori, if you can, or Becca, if you can scroll down a little bit on this so they could, Yeah, there's just a couple of items there where the parking variations are noted, and then the next page is the same. So
One to the left or scrolling to the bottom?
yeah, you got that one. So now we're on a heading here with the blue. This is what's called what we're calling the special uses. So these are specific uses. Again, the changes here on the first page are again primarily for parking. On the second page, the page to your right, what we've done is put in some placeholders for solar energy, wind energy, that will be coming up in the future. So those are the primary changes in this matrix at this point. Okay, if there are no questions, we can go to the next section.
You had your hard copies up there.
Just a moment. We have, do you want to address?
Well, we have a room full of spectators, visitors here for the public hearing, so they're not able to see what's up on there. You see it just about as well as we see it on our paper.
Well, you got, you have a hard copy, we see blurred.
I'm sorry.
I-
I apologize. I'm doing the best I can here. And just so you know, Laura, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is available online, correct?
Yes,
On the,
it's on the, yes.
okay. If anyone would like a packet of this, I would be more than happy to get it to them, email it to them, have you pick up a hard copy. This is how many pages long here, Laura? 77. I hate to email 77 page or post.
That's one.
I can-
It's only 71.
71. I don't have a problem doing that. We just try to save costs where we can. But
You can print it out like this in the 2 first page, and then it's only 36 pages.
Lori, so
This is-
according to law, you don't have to post drafts.
and
This
and
is
this
just-
has
This is just a draft that we're looking at.
and this has nothing to do with the reason that I'm sure 99% of you are here.
Yeah, I understand that, but if this is the way it's gonna be, we need some more clarity there, that we can see in front of us. Well,
This is the way this form is gonna be, not the part that you're
yes, I
concerned
understand that,
about.
but what we're looking at down the road at this meeting, and that's all blurred. If
It-
you can't read it, then
I don't think you're gonna have problems with what comes next. Can we get on with this? I'm really sorry.
That's my brain. What is the entity of this document officially titled?
This is the draft rezoning ordinance. We've been working on an antiquated zoning ordinance. This is a draft that brings us up to speed with the changes that are occurring in our community. It provides better definitions for what we have to work with. I have a whole list of things that I've been asked to address since I've been here in almost 3 years. And there's so much of our ordinance that has no definitions to address what the taxpayers are asking for. One of the things is your concern here, data mining. We don't have that in our current ordinance. That will be coming at some point. It's not part of this right now. But we do not have an ordinance for what you guys are concerned with. This is entirely unrelated to what the bulk of you guys are here for. May we proceed?
Part of our business.
Okay, Laura.
Go ahead, Laura.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the third item. It's the proposed draft of chapter 2, section 2.2. This is our initial draft for the A1 agricultural district.
Am I on the right page for you, Laura?
Yes, ma'am. So the red line version here, with the changes here are we've created a table. We have created sections in that table so you understand what are the principal uses that are allowed, what's their required parking, and then are there any additional regulations in the ordinance? And With the online ordinance, this will be set up where these would be hyperlinks that you could go directly to that ordinance. This section of principal uses and the next sections of accessory uses, special exception uses, and temporary uses is correlated with that matrix that we were just looking at. So Lori, we can keep going here.
I'm trying to zoom in a little better, and that's
Sure.
prohibit from seeing both columns at the same time. But hoping you find this more acceptable, even though we can't see everything.
So this is a chart that we created for the accessory uses. They don't have parking requirements, but they could have additional regulations often. And so we've created, again, a section where you could go and get more information about a particular accessory use. You can go on to, yes?
I got a question. Are you using a certain template to reform this, or are you just working through it line by line? What's your process?
This is the template that we worked on with the staff. And so each district, with the exception of the planned unit development district, will look like this.
Okay.
Unless you want it to look differently. This is our template. So the special exception uses, we have broken them out a little bit more. We've made sure that it's a little easier to read what their requirements are. Currently, it's like one big paragraph. And what we've done here is we've used the outline format. Any changes are shown in red. Those are our recommended changes. We can just keep going through here.
Go to the other side so they can kind of also see what these special exceptions are. And these are all the red lines. I'm just going to add, this is changes that have occurred. There's things from other parts of the ordinance. We're moving into a different part so that we can find them. Our ordinance is not user friendly. The taxpayers, shoot, I have a hard time deciphering our ordinance some of the time because it's not put together in a user-friendly, sorry, I know some of you guys worked on that old one, but it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
And it needs some changing. So there's not a whole lot of changes in this part other than moving stuff around.
That goes back to my question is, so basically a lot of this is rearranging it so it's more user friendly.
Right,
Okay.
Yes.
That was the point I was trying to get to.
okay.
So Lori, if you want to just keep scrolling through these two by two pages for the folks there.
All right, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go to the bottom of this, and these are still the special exception uses under A1, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we have that, and then I'm gonna go to the other column.
Okay, this is where we're also getting into a new use, event venue, kind of a general use there. And then if we can scroll up a little more, Lori,
Scroll down.
and a little more there. So now there's a new section we've added that would be in each of the districts for temporary uses and structures allowed by the zoning administrator. These are uses that Lori felt would be appropriate for her to continue to issue permission for as a temporary use or structure, or they, in our minds, are something that the zoning administrator can do because they are in fact temporary, they're not permanent. So Laura, if you want to move on to the next, the other direction, yeah, to the next page.
Oh, next page, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to go back and do something, Laura, so that
Oh, sure.
people saw it. I just want to point it out. And most of you probably saw commercial wind energy convergence system ordinance. This is a standalone ordinance. That's one of the things that's on the Board of Supervisors agenda right now, their table. It's past the board, past the zoning commission. You can see that it addresses that is a separate ordinance. It's not part of the general ordinance, just so that you guys are aware of that. And I didn't want to act like anyone thought I was hiding anything from them.
Right, this would be another opportunity for a hyperlink for folks to move from one ordinance to the other. These are some more examples of the temporary permits that have been recommended by staff.
I'm gonna find that other column for us too. Okay, now we're into the setbacks.
So the regulations for setbacks are in a chart form with borders around everything, so you can readily determine what is the regulation for each of the types of uses and structures.
And Laura, I find this to be a lot more user friendly.
Okay.
The way our ordinance is currently laid out, it's hard to determine by a property owner what they're actually looking, what they're looking for setbacks. So I think this is a good tool.
And one of the things we did is we pull anything that I could find that might be a special exception use or other type of use. The number of uses are bigger. Number of uses are more.
Laura, just a
Yeah.
minute.
We got it.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Continue, please.
If you want to show that chart again.
Certainly.
So we've expanded this because there's some uses that would have different regulations, like different from the principal uses to accessory uses. So again, trying to make this more all-encompassing, which therefore makes it easier to explain from the staff perspective, and we sure hope easier to understand from the customer perspective. Okay, I think we could move on, Lori. We did the same thing with the signs. They were just a series of sentences, and we've put those in a chart format. Again, this would be a template we use for the other districts. This is a type of template we use in other ordinances. And so the regulations here haven't changed. They're just organized in a chart.
Laura, it's Monica. I've got a question. Can we even dictate what the signs are along Highway 61 with those being a state highway? Because I know they actually have an office, or they used to, in the office right away at the DOT that dictated what signage could be up along state highways.
I will check into that for you, and I will let you know at our next meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a second, Laura, I want to make a note also.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions on signs? Okay, I think we're getting close to the end, Laura. If you want to move to the other page.
Gonna go to this side of the column too, so we could,
Right.
look.
Yeah. Whoop.
Just a moment. What page, where is that? 28? Sorry about that. Yeah, there we go. So that's just still part of the signage part, and then we had special exceptions that was,
No, this is the special requirements.
okay, got it.
Each of our zoning districts ends with a set of special requirements. And that's that section there that you see. So that should be the end of A1 district red line, and then we should be moving into a clean version at this point. There, yep. So this is for the folks in the audience. What we do is we show where the changes are proposed, and then we show a draft that shows what happens if all those changes are made, and that's what the clean version is here. So this is the same information, just cleaned up.
Just a second, Laura, I backed up. Can you guys still read that? Or do you want me to zoom back in where we only see part of it?
Yes,
Yes, what?
go back in.
So as she said, this is the clean version. The other one was the red line version. So this is what the new draft is looking like after everything was cleaned up and moved around. And then we have the other side of this, which is still the A1 district. This shows what, well, principal, this is principal use structures, any required parking, and where you can find the definition of such structure. And then this over here is also the same continuation of the other column, principal use structures, any required parking, and where you can find the definitions of such use. And those will all be hyperlinked eventually? Okay.
Yes, that's the goal.
Okay, and this outlines the accessory use structures in A1 zoning. Are you ready for the next page, Laura?
Could you tell us?
I
what
am.
Culture is?
I beg your pardon?
Could you tell us what the definition of agriculture is?
Well, I can.
We can,
You're asking for
we can,
definition of agriculture.
it's in the ordinance and it refers to Iowa code, but I don't have that. I don't have it right now.
Yeah, and I'd have to dig through it and, but it's, who do I need to email the definition of agricultural to?
Give me 1 second, man.
Hang on, Laura. We have someone looking up the definition of agricultural from our code or from our ordinance.
I can just show it to him if you want to, is that what you said?
If it works for him.
Everybody's here, but it's, everybody can see it.
I don't know if you can,
Cause I don't know what it is in this.
can you share something from my screen?
Give me a moment here.
A1.
Let me. Well, or, I go into that one participant or. There's a way, I just don't do this often enough, Laura.
Okay, because I pulled up chapter 6, which is the definitions.
Do we have that in here? No, we don't, do we?
Actually, the definition has not changed. It's the current definition. So if somebody already pulled that up, that's the definition. But I've got it. I can read it.
Part of the reason we need a rewrite of our ordinance, because I cannot go directly to something in our old ordinance. And nobody can. If I
Laura,
can't
how
do it.
long is that definition?
It's two sentences.
You
Then
wanna-
why don't you read it if it's just 2 sentences?
All right, I will do that. Agriculture. The use of land for agricultural purposes, including farming, dairying, pasturage, horticulture, floriculture, viticulture, and animal and poultry husbandry, and the necessary accessory uses for treating or storing the produce, provided, however, that such accessory uses shall be secondary to that of normal agricultural activities. Agriculture shall not include commercial animal or poultry feeding or raising in confined lots or buildings as defined herein. See also farm and horticulture.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That is a addressing the situation we're concerned about the database.
That is correct. This is a work session for the ordinance rewrite that we started working on in what, December, Laura?
Yes,
So this is a work session. This is part of the regular business of the zoning commission. Part of their responsibilities is to revisit, rewrite, and adopt ordinances. And this is what we're working on right now.
We're not even at the part of the data mining thing yet.
Not even there yet.
An agenda.
Yeah.
So Laura, please continue.
so we can just kind of work through this. This is the clean version that we're looking at here. This entire agenda packet that the commission is looking at tonight is posted on the project website. Again, here's another placeholder for something that's coming up, wind energy, assuming something gets adopted. We can just keep going, Lori.
Here, I'm gonna also scroll to the bottom.
Yep.
And then go to the other side of the page, Laura.
Thank you.
And this is all A1 district still.
Yes.
And this falls under the special exception uses, not principal use.
Right.
Okay, we're still in that A1 under special exception use.
Correct.
And as you can see, the things that are highlighted boldly are things that are listed under special exception use under the current A1 zoning ordinance. And will be in the new one also. Actually, Laura, Garden Center was one of the new ones, and event venue is one of the new ones that are part of here that we saw in our red line version, correct?
Right.
Okay. And now we're back into the grid, the graph that shows the setbacks, minimum
Right.
lot sizes.
Mhm.
And don't let me take over, Laura.
No, and we can just keep moving. The next one chart should be the signs, which didn't have any changes. And then the special requirements. And then Lori, if you want to just move over to that second, there we go. So this is another district. This one is not a district that is organized the same way, because the planned unit development district is one that allows for a developer to create basically like a customized zoning district for a project. What we've done here with the changes for the planned unit development, or PUD district, is we have set it up to have some of the same criteria that you would see for other applications. So this one lists what should be in the application. We can go to the next page, Lori. There's information in here on these next two pages about the application process. Trying again to make sure that it's clear. One of the things that can happen with a planned unit development district application is it can be a change of the zoning, but it can also be related to a subdivision plat for the development. And so we wanted to make sure that there was references to both the zoning change and the plating approval process here. And again, we'll be trying to use those hyperlinks so people can go back and forth. So again, trying to make sure this is comprehensive, that we cover the bases, we provide cross checks between ordinances and within the ordinance, so that it's clear to the staff and clear to the customer and clear to the commission and board of supervisors what is the process for this. So some changes, but really not much in terms of changing it. Again, trying to make it organized better, more user-friendly. And then I think, Lori, we would be moving into the clean version of this here pretty soon. Yep, I see. Yeah. So again, like the one we just looked at, this clean version incorporates whatever was in a red line state and leaves the changes there to be viewed without the red line. Okay. On the right-hand side there, this is another section of the ordinance. It's part of chapter 2. It's called supplemental district regulations. So these are regulations or sometimes exceptions that will apply to all districts. And here what we've done is added some illustrations for things. This very first one, for example, the visibility at an intersection. There are several things that are going on in terms of geometry and measurements. And so each of these images relates to one of those ways that the site visibility triangle and making sure there's no obstructions at an intersection, how those are treated.
Lori and Laura, I have a question on this with the site triangle. Because there are a lot of farmers that plant clear up into the right of way. And this is something that we need to look at very closely. Obviously on highways, in county highways, heavily traveled roads, this is something that we need to look at. However, when you're getting out into the rural areas where there's not as much traffic, I think this could be an issue.
We can review this with the county engineer and see if they have things that they will do. I know that site visibility often will lean on the side of conservative and take into account that there would be full row crops present. So I think that would be something, Lori, that we can do and get back to the commission with an answer at the next meeting.
Let me mark that on mine too. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's see the next.
I didn't go too far, did I, Laura?
No, I'm not I'm not seeing it. Okay, here we go. So then this is the information that's in the current ordinance, and you can see we've added just a few suggested changes here in redlining for these next several items. And then we can look at this next page, Lori. So this one I had a, this one I have a question for the commission in terms of the off-street parking. Right now, it says parking shouldn't be in a required front yard in a residential district. And I thought this might not be the wording we were looking at. I have a diagram there that shows a vehicle in a driveway, which to me could very easily happen in a residential district. So just wanted to let you think about that. Maybe this language needs to be modified. Okay, we can go on to the next page.
Just a second, Laura.
Okay, the next section had to do with making sure there was compliance with other county development requirements. And what we did here was try to make sure we put in those where you can find those other requirements specifically, so that when we create a hyperlink, we'll be going to the section that's appropriate. So it's not just go and look in all the ordinances and try to find this one. It's go to this ordinance, this section, this chapter. Accessory dwelling units currently are being debated at the Iowa legislature. So we're trying to get just having something in reserve here for when and if that gets passed. Solar energy systems, I was asked to look at solar energy systems, particularly for consumer scale. So if we want to, these would be things that would be used by a homeowner or a business. They would not be generating electricity beyond the needs of that business. The utility scale solar array is not, there's no regulation proposed for that at this point. We created a set of definitions within this set of regulations so that they're handy, and included a diagram that can show some of the many ways you can have solar arrays mounted on a building or other structure, along with those definitions. And then if we could go to we can go to the next page. We also have an illustration of a freestanding solar array. This might be, this is at the Hurstville Interpretive Center. And then you see there's a definition for the solar energy generation at the utility scale. Again, really that's a placeholder until the commission begins working on that part of it. For our purposes, though, we wanted to be able to provide for solar energy systems for homes and farms and businesses that were on the consumer scale. So the regulations here are on this page and on the adjoining page are all geared to that consumer scale solar access, either as a building mounted array or a freestanding array. We have a placeholder for those utility scale solar, and then also the placeholder for the wind energy conversion systems that are being considered by the Board of Supervisors at this time. And just something reserved for data mining for whatever whatever gets approved by that, but recommended by the commission and approved by the Board of Supervisors. And let's see, I think we might be moving into the clean version of that. Yeah, so this is the clean version of that supplemental regulation. And again, we'll check on this visibility at intersections with row crops. That's and I think I think that may be the end. Yeah, we're getting close to the end of this packet.
Oops, sorry, Laura.
Nope, I think this is just a
Solar
Just a
part.
clean version of that consumer scale solar. And then the other provisions that relate to that. And then I think we have one more page. This is the last page. And so this is just the final page of just this section. We'll be bringing each of the other components of this chapter to you in sections again. Are there any questions or comments from the commission? Okay, thank you very much for your support and thanks for those questions. We'll be looking into those, Monica, and bringing you back some recommendations. Good night, everyone.
Next month.
Lori, are we staying pretty much on schedule with this then?
Yeah, right now we're done with Laura and now we have,
No, he means on the zoning.
oh, excuse me. Oh, yes, we're right on the.
Yeah, I meant on what we're working.
Yes, I apologize. I had another schedule in my head,
Sure,
but yes, we're right on target.
okay, and so, because I always thought it was a fairly ambitious, schedule, but it looks like we're staying on track.
It is an ambitious schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Okay,
is an
good.
ambitious schedule, but you guys, I thank you guys for accepting the challenge.
Yeah,
So, I'm gonna go back to the top so everyone can see the agenda and where we are on the agenda. See if it catches this up.
We should be to the public hearing, part, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna get back up to it and turn everything back around here. So here's where we are. I will blow it up. Mike, did you have something that
Yes,
we
we
wanted?
will, someone wants to make a motion to open the public hearing. And when we do the public hearing,
Actually, Mike, this is just for public comment. You already closed your public hearing.
oh, right. So we're just.
This is just public comment.
Public comment. So, one person will be able to speak at a time, only one person, no interruptions. You'll speak for 3 minutes only, and only that one person will speak only once. Yes, sir.
Sure, I just have a real quick question. Do you want us to speak on what everybody's here for during this time?
Yes.
Or when you're discussing, like last time, you had us discuss it while you were talking about
Yeah, we shouldn't have done it that way last time. We were.
Actually, Mike, you were good last time. You already closed that public hearing.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, we shouldn't have been commenting back and forth.
Oh,
between
that's-
us.
that's
One
true.
person should have spoken for 3 minutes, and then that person will.
Thank you.
And you can talk about, it doesn't have to be about data mining. You can talk about anything that's considered zoning in Jackson County at this time. Okay,
Did you want me to bring up what your roles are?
yes, you
Okay.
would, if you do that at this time, yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna go back. Is that on the very last page? Very good.
Yeah. Very last page. Just so everyone here is familiar with what our job as a commission is linear
Good talk. Okay.
or whatever.
So below is language in the ordinance as to the zoning commission's role in determining the zoning districts for uses not spelled out in the ordinance. Proposed use is not covered in the ordinance. Any proposed use not covered in this ordinance as permitted uses or special exception uses shall be referred to this body, the zoning commission, for a recommendation as to the proper district in which such use should be permitted and the ordinance amended as provided in section 3.2 before a permit is issued for such proposed use. Should the commission determine that this use is best used under A1 district with the appropriate special exceptions to be determined by the Board of Adjustment, a motion would be motion to recommend to the Board of Supervisors to keep this zone A1 and then allow the Board of Adjustment to set the appropriate special exceptions for this type of operations. However, should the commission determine that an A1 district is not appropriate, they would need to determine which district is appropriate. The districts that you basically have in front of you right now are M1 or M2, if you find that A1 is not appropriate for this use. So in this case, there would be action to follow. The commission would determine if this area is suitable for such industrial M1 or M2 zoning. If they would need to rezone they would need to make the appropriate motion to recommend to the Board of Supervisors that this operation is best suited for use in that industrial district, and that the commission also recommends this area is suitable for rezoning to an industrial district. This operation in the 2-acre tract to be rezoned to the industrial district M1 or M2, and then allow the Board of Adjustment to set the appropriate special exceptions for this type of use. Or if the commission determines this area is not suited for industrial use, operations, or zoning, there would need to be a motion stating that the commission has determined the type of use for this proposed the commission has determined the type of use proposed is best zoned under M1, M2 industrial zoning. The commission has determined this area is not suited for industrial use, and for these reasons recommend to the Board of Supervisors to keep this zone A1 and deny the application for special exception use. So this commission's duties is not to say no, flat out no. There has to be a reason for them to make one of these motions. Special conditions is not set up by the zoning commission. It is set up by the Board of Adjustment, would be the next step in this process. They do not set conditions. And I'm just going to speak because I know I've talked to many of you since your last meeting. They just finished working on a wind energy conversion system ordinance. It took them 18 months. So they were kind of used to thinking that they were delegated to set up conditions. For the ordinance, yes, that was what their role was. For this purpose, their only purpose, any proposed use not covered in this ordinance as permitted or special exception shall be referred to the zoning commission for a recommendation as to the proper district in which such use should be permitted and the ordinance amended as provided in section 3.2 before a permit is issued for proposed use.
Lori, can I say something quick?
Sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna step back here.
Yes, sir.
For those of you who weren't here last month, my name is Tom Stewart. I am on the Mahoning Valley Electric Board, so at this point, I'm gonna just go to the back. I'm not gonna be part of this discussion or this decision. I do not believe that I necessarily have a conflict of interest, but I do not want to give the appearance of a conflict of interest. What I would like to say, there's a misconception out there that Mahoning Valley Electric is partnering with the data mining company. That is not true. What we would do is we would supply the data mining company, if it would be approved, with power, just like we would for anybody's house, business, drain bin. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna step back so nobody has any questions about me, being on this. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, Mike.
Okay, so whoever wants to start, please stand and,
We'll give them 3 minutes.
give them 3 minutes.
And once per person.
And, state your name.
Randy Rowan. But I got a thing wrote out here. I hope I can get through it in 3 minutes. My name's Randy Rowan, wife Rhonda, son Joe. We have no objections to anyone selling their land unless it diminishes the quality of life of the neighbors. Okay. We're owners of the closest residence to the proposed Bitcoin mining facility. We're nearing retirement within the next year or so, and never in our wildest dreams we think we'd have to be dealing with something like this at this point in our lives. The proposed site would be 600 some odd feet from our house and 400 some odd feet from our property line. A house that we've lived in for 38 years. As I mentioned earlier, we are nearing retirement. We don't want to have to tap into our hard-earned retirement money to fight this with a lawyer. We don't think that Bitcoin mining facilities are a good fit for Jackson County, given the environmental impact and footprint that they involve, and with the amount of electricity that they require, largely generated by coal-fired power plants. I read somewhere where China pretty much banned these facilities in 2021 due to their environmental impact. Is this the rabbit hole that we really want to go down in and for Jackson County? Because believe it or not, folks, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If this gets approved, I'm betting that in a very short period of time, there will be one or more of these facilities at every substation in Jackson County. We want to learn more about these facilities, so on March 1st, my wife and I drove to 3 of these facilities. One at Grundy Center, one at Union, and one at St. Anthony. The Who building at the Grundy Center burned down this past January. The last I heard, it was from unknown causes. They resembled a junkyard to me and us. They were missing louvers in some of the pods, and some of the fans that were running sounded like they had bearings going out of them. And because of the screeching sound, I have pictures and video for anyone who wants to see that. The second place we visited was at Union. I think this is Orem's newest facility at 8 megawatts. We're on the gravel road just to the west of the facility and on the exhaust side, and it was loud to say the least. Now keep in mind, this is March 1st and not very warm outside, so the fans that were burning were probably not running at full speed. The third site we visited was at St. Anthony. This site was developed in 2022.
To 3 minutes there, sorry.
This site was developed in 2022, was at St. Anthony. This site was developed and looked to us to be in a state of disrepair. There were louvers missing on the exhaust sides of the pods and of the fans that were running, they were also loud and also sounded like they had bearings going out of them because of the screeching. I have pictures and he already said this. In summation of all of these sites that we visited, there is one thing in common that stands out. Folks, these sites are out in the middle of nowhere. There's no livestock, there's no residents to be found around any of these sites. They are in gravel roads with no inhabited residents nearby. Also in our research, we discussed that RM applied for rezoning request in Woodbury County last year. It was denied essentially because of the nearest residence was 1,100 feet away. RM also said that it would use liquid cooled pods in a closed loop system to mitigate the sound. This also said that other sound mitigation devices could be available, such as fencing and shrubbery. In closing, we would like to appeal to the board that if you feel that you have the reason to rezone this property and allow this proposal to move forward, that you make a stipulation or condition of use that the Bitcoin mining facility can be no closer than 1,500 to 1,800 feet away with exhaust fans pointing away from the nearest residence at any residence in Jackson County. And at that decibel reading, and that the decibel reading at the nearest residence cannot exceed 50 decibels at any time of the day or any time of the year. Thank you. When we visited these, I thankfully that some of you possibly visited these sites also. Del Steel Marcus has visited them 1 week prior to us. We visited them 1 week later, and I believe you went in the week in between us. I think we actually saw your tracks at some of the sites. But when we went, no one knew that we were coming. But I assume that when you went, they knew that you were coming, right?
To one of the sites.
To one of the sites. And I'm sure at that site, they probably, just like as you clean your house up for visitors, I'm sure they probably tidied it up for you. Both Dale and Randy have videos of the same places for anybody that would like to watch and see them. And it's 1 week apart.
Actually, I do have that to present. I have Dale's video of Union and the St. Anthony site, and I have the video of Union and St. Anthony when Mary and I went.
All right,
So-
Randy also has the
Well,
videos.
I have them to put on the screen.
All right, thank you, Lori.
Yep.
And I also, sorry, but thank you to Lori. She's been nothing but kind and courteous to us, and we appreciate everything that she has done for us. Thank you, Lori.
Okay, it looks like, Amanda?
You can stay right there, man, if you want, that's fine.
Thank you I'm Amanda Rickardson. I'm from Bryant, Iowa, actually. Thank you for allowing me to address. I am actually speaking on behalf of my family that are landowners in Jackson County, approximately a half a mile from the proposed project. My brother's house and shop sits on approximately 50 acres, and my parents also own around 35 adjoining acres. We are all opposed to a special use permit for any Bitcoin operation. My first thing, a fire risk. Obviously, there is a fire concern if the plant owner operator had his Grundy County operation burned in January and failed to disclose the information. If a hoop shed like that surrounded by dry corn stalks like we had this last fall, was to catch fire, it could easily spread, putting homes and lives in danger. 2, the amount of daily electricity this operation would take is huge. We do not want our bills to go up or potentially blackouts. 3, there is no benefit to our community, only risk. 4, my family and neighbors spend a lot of time on the property outside, especially in the summer. There is a very high noise level, which is unacceptable. 5, the Rowan home is far too close to the property to consider this. If you allow this special permit, you are clearly harming them. 6, the ground is zoned agricultural. There is absolutely nothing ag related to this. Thank you.
Gwen, did you have anything?
I do. Thank you for allowing me to address Sue. This ground is zoned agricultural. Clearly, there is nothing ag-related to a Bitcoin mining operation, even if it is placed in a hoop shed, like the Grundy County operation that burned down, as we believe that fire is still under investigation. However, placing a large number of computers together would generate substantial heat. Also, it's very easy for rodents to work their way into a hoop shed and build a nest or chew through wires to create a fire. This is a risk that could be very dangerous in a dry field filled with corn stalks, particularly where we're dry now and last fall when we had a drought. The economic impact of this is negligible. However, the extreme use of electricity is a concern. This would be a drain on the system and could lead to higher prices, shortages, and blackouts. This sets a precedence. If you allow one, others will surely follow. I would like to support the Rowan family. Certainly in Iowa, we take care of our neighbors, and this would lower their property value, cause them to put up with a significant noise nuisance, and is not how we treat our neighbors in Iowa. I implore the board to keep this ag ground zoned as it is A1 agricultural. Thank you.
Charlie, do you have anything? Charlie is on my list. Charlie White.
That's me, I'm like forum, so I'm.
Okay, how about we get, if there's any questions at the end, we pull you up. I'm gonna go down my list if you don't mind.
Excuse me, if you're gonna follow the rules that strictly, by us not clapping and giving us an exact 3 minutes, please give us a 10 seconds that we're about to end, as it says in the rules of the chair. Please.
I don't know. I know what that is.
Maybe you should read your rules.
I also agree with that, that if Lori intervenes with someone talking, they should be credited that much time that she spent in the talk. Not that I'm against talking.
We just won't intervene
Oh, did I talk?
during while she was talking.
Oh, I apologize.
It's fine, Lori. You're good. We're good.
Charlie White?
That's me again.
Okay, sorry, I'm a little flustered. Terry. Did you want to speak?
Yeah. I'm doing enough of that the way it is. We've heard everybody, a lot of people here about the opposition of building this. Everybody says, or the Bitcoin people say, it's gonna be great for you, it's gonna be great for you. But let's say what happens, as to what will not happen happens. What rights do the people surrounding very close to this area have? In the contract of purchase, is there a hold harmless agreement? Are they able to bring civil suit for the civil suit for compensatory damages or punitive damages? You know, what rights do they have? Because there's many neighbors that are gonna be affected severely financially with their property. I mean, we are not gonna agree, we all agree this is not right here. But what happens if it does happen, something happens? There's, if I'm correct, there's a little creek right there, Okay, what about environmental protection? We get a fire, we got the plastic burning, we have the ash, unless they come in right away and clean it up. Heavy rain, it takes it down into the creek. You know, there's so many other things, and I agree with the opposition 100%. What happens if something does happen? Are they stuck with, no value? Another person stuck with, the value of the property, another person stuck with the livestock, won't perform, won't gain weight. I mean, there's so many other questions, you just agree to this zoning, agree to it, well, now you're stuck out there. Let's see this permit, you can redact the personal names, but keep the corporations and the co-ops in it. And let's see what all the wording of this purchase and what they are going to do. Another thing is the decibels. We've all experienced a jet. Maybe for 5 seconds, 10 seconds. If this is constant, what's that gonna do to livestock? We know what it's gonna do to Rollins' property. There's just too many questions out there. This should never be passed today. It shouldn't be passed in months. And then there's more studies on it. Thank you for your time.
Is there anybody that didn't sign in that wants to speak? Okay, can I get your name?
Nicole Shipley.
I'm gonna write your name down, Nicole, okay?
Yeah, no problem. I'll set my own timer. It's 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay. So I appreciate the recap of where we're at right now and what the duties are. I'd like to refresh the group. I'm back on 9/17/24, when a 9-month moratorium was enacted on the development and construction on these data mining facilities and issuing applications for permits. Verbatim, concerns were raised by public officials regarding the county's level of preparedness when it comes to the development of data mining facilities due to not having a current data mining facility ordinance. Planning and Zoning Commission will require time to gather information and coordinate multiple agencies for the purpose of reviewing, updating, of creating ordinance, policies, and procedures relative to these facilities development. During that meeting, our astute board pointed out that Bitcoin mining is a lucrative business and shared concerns about e-waste and limiting the number of these facilities in our county. At the 40-minute mark of that Board of Supervisors meeting, a list of drawbacks to these facilities was shared, including minimal tax value, minimal revenue generated, a ton of power used, and following that, it was stated that MVEC knows there's money to be made. That's recorded. It was discussed that in addition to current wind, solar, and battery storage ordinance drafts, data mining facilities would be added. A mere 49 days following the moratorium being enacted, Zoning Commission requested it be rescinded on 11/5, stating that its purpose was to ensure safeguards were in place prior to issuing permits. It is my opinion this is an oversimplification. Further, it states reasons for the moratorium are adequately addressed, quote, in our zoning ordinance through zoning commission decisions and by Jackson County Board of Adjustment consideration and placement of conditional use restrictions. I'd also note that John Paul Barrick then applied 1 hour after this moratorium was lifted, and his LLC was established 6 days prior to that, according to public record. As the initial moratorium outlined, time was allowed to create policies and procedures in the development of these facilities and to coordinate with agencies. But as of 2/17's meeting, in the 4 months since that moratorium was lifted, the fundamental question still remained on how this operation would be zoned. To briefly revisit the Board of Supervisor and Community concerns, e-waste. Has the Board of Supervisors concerned of e-waste handling been investigated? As noted on Mining Store's website, their equipment lasts an average of 5 years before breaking down or becoming obsolete. Has Mining Store committed to timely and responsible disposal, or will Jackson County be left with piles of electronic junk? Expansion. In the 2/17 meeting, Orem Capital's rep Tasha did not commit to staying the proposed 2.5 megawatt size for the duration, but mentioned the operation, quote, could grow at 24 minutes and 30-second timestamp. And a reminder, Orem Capital has 7 banks behind them ready to invest 1.1 billion, as Charlie mentioned.
10 seconds.
Oh, okay. So who does this all truly benefit? I mean, in some, I would really request that.
Here.
No problem.
I saw another hand. Hi there, what's your name, sir?
My name is Marcus Winkler. I was on the last one. I just couldn't figure out on Zoom how to talk, so I decided to come here today. So since you probably already started the timer, I'm gonna give you a real quick view of me. I care about my children and my wife, number one, then my animals, then my finances, then myself. All right? I don't care. I'm gonna give you the short version of probably my 30-minute speech. This guy has lied to us already twice. He said he went and talked to every single one of us that are around there. He never went and talked to me. I got notified about that meeting literally 3 minutes after this meeting started last month. And my property line is 100 meters away from where he wants to build this. That's a lie. Number two, wind energy. Why is he investing in a lot of the wind energy companies that we are actively fighting against? She hit up on the e-waste, but I'm not gonna hit on that too much. He already recused himself. Who's the other one that said that they work at Macokota Valley?
Nobody.
Oh, I thought there was another one that got pretty defensive at the last meeting. But yeah, thank you for recusing yourself, because that's the right thing to do. I appreciate that.
Right.
This is just gonna end up ruining everything that they have worked 30, 40 years for. Everything that I am trying to work for, because I'm the newest resident in the area. It's gonna screw everybody in that, screw up everything in that horseshoe of everybody that lives around there. He's gonna be building this right on top of the water table that all of us are pulling off of. The e-waste, if that starts on fire, our water table is screwed. We're done. Everybody in there is gonna have to move. All those harsh chemicals going straight into our water table, that's not right. I have 4 kids underneath the age of 10. That's not right at all. We fought the wind energy companies. Once again, why is he investing in wind energy? Number 2, we're gonna fight these guys. If you wanna actually know who I am, I did 6 years serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm a Green Beret, did contracting for another 6 years. And now I work at the federal prison. That's who I am. Oh, 2 Purple Hearts and a Bronze Star. Thank you. Thank you.
Was there anyone else that maybe didn't sign in and get an opportunity to serve with the Bobcat?
Ken Lane.
I can.
Mine are more questions that I just haven't been able to wrap my mind around. One thing I will preface by saying, I have a nephew. The Union facility was built about a half mile from where more my wife grew up. And so then my nephew went over and we FaceTimed right next to the building, right next to the facility. We went a quarter mile away. I'm just gonna tell you right now, I was pretty open-minded to it. I'm not now. It was so freaking loud. And that was in March. So, the nearest, and they're right, the nearest house, probably quarter, half mile, I'm just guessing. But it was so stinking loud there that I was just like, wow. Okay, so that got me thinking. How many sites are being planned for Jackson County? Is there needs, I'm sure they have a plan. I guess we as county members need to kind of be aware of how many they have planned. What happens if they don't, what consequences they have if they don't follow the noise ordinance? We can all sit here, I've been on enough committees and boards before, everybody talks the big talk, they sing the big song, we do, and we prove it, and then what are the consequences when it doesn't happen? Where are the consequences? That's what we need to know as community people. Are there gonna be like an escrow set aside for cleanup? Because they're eventually, when you don't live in the neighborhood, it's easy to kind of, no, that's not working, we'll just kind of brush it aside. Where's the funding gonna come from to clean that property up? I'm not expecting answers, just these are questions that come to my mind. I don't want to be naive, but I also need to be realistic about this power situation. And I do respect Tom for doing the right thing. But this place is supposed to use about $4,500, $5,000 of power a day, and they're automatically going to shut it down when there's a power drain. Let's not be naive here. Okay, if it's that hot, especially when the power is required, and those computers need whatever they are, need that much power draw, then it's naive for us to think they're just going to shut it down. Come on, people, it's not going to happen. They say it is. What happens when it doesn't happen? What are the consequences for that? Okay. Thank you. I just need those questions. Everybody needs to think about these questions.
Ma'am? Your name, please?
Joe Benson, Springfield, Iowa, with Joel Bratton,
Okay,
who is very close to this facility proposal. As my time started, I'm just going to introduce myself. There's a catalyst motivator for this JP Barrett, it's got the mining store. under the London Stock Exchange, and at least 3 articles that can be bibliography. The People's Republic of China is backing him. He is not the top criminal. Another foreign country is, and as far as I'm concerned, and our United States government, land acquisition for a United States citizen to purchase anything in the US for Republic of China is not allowed. 2, the Code 91, Chapter 91, with the agricultural use that is interfering completely and deteriorating to anything agriculture. It is not in that definition of the Iowa Code. 3, we got Jane Pauley from CBS Sunday Morning, Time Magazine, Popular Mechanics have all put out articles and news features about the Bitcoin facilities and how they farm communities, people, the animals around it, the environment, with the e-waste, the gross electrical use. Basically, what's the payoff motivator for this JP Barrett? He's just wants, it's just greed. It's all I can see. It's not a part of the good news that we learn at church or St. Francis of Assisi, as far as I'm concerned. Basically, the Bitcoin mining facilities, they put out a negative impact toward the legacy of land inherited into generations, like my great grandfather, down to me, down to my daughter. 3, this military grade torture noise that is put up by these fans. It is detrimental to bees, all the birds that I see. I'm an outdoor person, the hawks, the eagles, the cows, the goats, the chickens, the cattle, the pigs, anything you got outside. Your dairy cow, basically it interrupts their threat detection, universal threat detection, and this is a
10 seconds.
PTSD response, just it disrupts their instinct to determine that. It is against all of Mother Nature's idea.
Thank you.
If you got hunters, ATVs, side by side, golfers, people who are coming in for the economic reasons of Jackson County, you're gonna ruin it with the 20 or more Bitcoin facilities that.
Thank you.
JP Barrett wants to put in this year.
Okay, do you want me to go, Charlie, want me to sit you for the end?
Do we have anybody else that wants?
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. I see another hand. Name, please?
I would like to say my name is Beverly Plaza, and I'd like to say, I wish the board would think about if they like it alongside of their house. That's all I.
Well, what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Do you want me to go online? Oh, there's more. I'm sorry, Leanne?
I just want to say that I got probably 60 some signatures that are kind of opposing to like the restrictions and stuff on the decision to do stuff like that. So I know you probably get the consensus of the feeling from the people opposed to it, I guess. You want to see here somewhere or?
Yeah, you can wait. Do you have anybody else?
So, I'm gonna start at the top of my list here. Firefly note taker, do you have comments? And if so, please unmute.
That's actually a note taking app that we use, so.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a bot.
Okay, so Jen?
Yeah, can you hear me? Lori, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, sorry, it wasn't coming up. for the chat, so I wasn't sure if it was disabled on purpose or by accident. So I couldn't raise my hand. Thank you for asking. I just want to follow up with, I just want to say I urge the county to consider proceeding with caution and transparency with whatever decisions that they think they're going to make before any commitments. That includes all involved parties, fully disclose the risk and benefits, clearly outlining how the Jackson County citizens will benefit beyond the addition of two of these positions and grid stabilization, both publicly and in writing, and that the mining store or Aurum Capital provide transparency regarding their future expansion plans and objectives for the ownership and operation of this facility, and that the environmental impacts be independently assessed without relying solely on the mining store's claims. And I ask, please, that the county consider establishing an ordinance for such facilities as initially discussed. And if the mining store truly aims to be a responsible neighbor and partner, they should respect the county's obligation to safeguard our land and resources. This includes allowing the necessary time to thoroughly evaluate, plan, and prepare, consistent with the intent of the previous moratorium. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, next, let's call on Jared. Do you have anything to add, Jared? Unmute yourself if you do, please. Nicole, was Jared planning on talking?
Yep, sorry, I'm here. Okay, so I'll make this short statement. Our homes should be a sanctuary, not a sacrifice zone for corporate greed. But right now, our community is under threat from exploitation, a company that wants to set up an industrial Bitcoin mining operation in our backyard, bringing unbearable 24/7 noise, skyrocketing energy costs, and serious fire risks. Bitcoin mining is designed with built-in safety features to prevent overheating, fires, and excessive energy use. However, when these machines are pushed to beyond their limits for maximum profit, which this company is going to do, what happens when an overworked machine malfunctions, when it starts an electrical fire in the middle of the night, when our already strained power grid is pushed to the breaking point? These are not hypothetical concerns. These are real dangers that could put our entire community at risk. And then there's the relentless noise. The constant industrial hum of mining machines and cooling fans will invade our homes, our backyards, and every moment of our daily lives. This isn't just an annoyance. It's a direct attack on our ability to enjoy our homes in peace. We cannot allow this. We will not stand by while exploitation puts their profits ahead of our safety, our property values, and our quality of life. This is dangerous. This is unacceptable, and this must be stopped. Thank you.
John, I hope you don't mind. JP, I'm going to push you to the end. Is that okay with my commission? John Paul Beard.
Yeah.
I'm going to just hang on and I'll get back to you, I promise. Kelly Gerlach, would you have comments?
No comments, Lori.
Thank you. Marley Klein, if you'd like to speak, please unmute. Marley, am I saying her name right, you guys? Okay. Did you have anything to add? If you don't unmute, I'm just gonna bypass you and I'd come back at the very end and double check on you. Mary, with no last name, do you have any comments? If so, please unmute. I'll come back at the very end and just double check to make sure you didn't have anything to add. Ron, Dr. Besh?
I know, just observing. I got home late, so just watching.
Thank you. Tasha, do you have a comment?
I do not. I am also with Warren, so.
Thank you. And then the phone number 9645. Do you have anything to add? Guess not. So I'm going to go back to Marley. Marley, if you had anything to add, here's your opportunity. Please unmute. And same thing with Mary. Mary, did you have anything to add?
No comment.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna go back to JP. JP, would you like to unmute?
Hello, yes, happy to unmute. As the applicant, do I have longer than 3 minutes or only 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
Okay. Why that's been brought up, my name is John Polberic. Why are we doing this? It's because I believe in the opportunity to transform energy into wealth by leveraging this low-cost sustainable power to fuel trusted Bitcoin mining solutions and creating high-value IT careers in rural America. We're not backed by China. This is why I've been in this industry. We chose this location as there are no adequately zoned substations in Jackson County in an industrial district. We are seeking clarity on where we can develop and build our business, and are here to provide clarity on what we are building and what we are not building. We use no harsh chemicals in our facilities, as was brought up by a public participant. This is our only site planned for Jackson County. This will not open the floodgates for more facilities. We do not invest in wind energy. Wind generation is the top generation in Iowa. We are utilizing this clean excess energy. We have not been given approval to clean up our hoop building, which burned down in January. That's why that site is still as it is. The louvers are missing. Yes, we do acknowledge that, and we have upgraded our fans, and we will be fixing them in a few months across all of our facilities. We use direct drive fans in our new deployments that are not the old fans of the belt driven that you hear with the squeaks and noises. Again, those are all being replaced. Our St. Anthony site is 717 feet away from the nearest house. We have built facilities with the fans facing a neighbor and have had no complaints. Reminder, this house is about 650 plus feet away, and the fans are facing the other direction. That site is also double the size. This site is 2.5 megawatts. We are not building a hoop building as outlined by our application. We are building metal structures that do not have wood in them and are much harder to burn down. We are giving away our cooperative patronage benefits to the community. That is in addition to the state annual tax contribution of $61,000 for electricity. That is $32,000 per year to every electric cooperative member that'll be distributed to all members by Maquoketa Valley. We are not taking this patronage. That's $322,000 directly in your pockets if you use the REC's power that we are not getting. We have built 7 facilities in Iowa and have not had one example of property values declining due to these facilities. So stating that the property value will potentially decline is not a fact. We do have an e-waste plan, and we do partner with JKIT's decommissioning services, and we have an electronic e-waste disposal process that we follow that is up to code according to the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. We are here to answer any questions. We give site tours to people, and we're happy to work with the community to make this a benefit for everyone.
Thank you, JP. I'm gonna go back to the telephone call that's on here, the 9645. Do you have anything to add? Mr. White?
I've heard some stuff in the room today about power, everybody's concerned about power and not being able to shut down and things like that. If you have a half tank of propane that's sitting at your house and the guy comes along and wants to deliver propane for you and it's 5 times the cost, do you guys buy it, or do you just hold off and buy it later when it comes down in price? That is what we do with power. So when it comes to having a peak in power, Maquoketa Valley comes and charges a peak price. So we do shut down. We don't want to have to pay the peak price when it comes to the power. As far as brownouts are concerned, that's how we manage it. We shut down during peak times. Everybody's also scared that we're going to make the electricity rates go up. We're actually going to stabilize them. Is that correct? In theory, that would happen. Okay. So there's power that is not being utilized, there's power that's not being used whatsoever. So we're actually buying that power. So you guys are getting money in your pockets back into your cooperative, so they're not inflating the cost of power. Like I said, like JP was pointing out, we're paying $32,000 in patronage back to all of you, so that's also helping reduce the power costs. We're also going to be creating a couple jobs in the area that are good paying jobs. They're $27.50 an hour, I believe is what they are. It also comes with full benefits. It's a full W-2 time job, 40 hours a week, 9 to 5, is what's going to come to your community. So you'll have some high-tech jobs that will be created here.
Are you saying that you're gonna pay?
Don't interrupt, please. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt.
Cause I don't care how much you're gonna pay me, I don't want you to.
Okay, please. I'm sorry, I'm not being rude to you, so I don't appreciate if you don't do that to me.
I'm being rude.
So in order to answer that question, it's $32,000 back to the cooperative that's split between everybody that's using the cooperative's power. Sorry, I had some notes I wrote down too that I need to go back and take a look at. As far as is contaminating the water table, if we go up to fire, we don't use, PCBs, we don't use mercury, we don't use things like that in our computers. And so that's not an issue. This is not a hoop building. Noise level is not an issue at 500 feet. We are putting in culverts to help with drainage. And that's basically what I have that I've overheard. That just kind of seems to be dispelling some myths in the area. So, like I said, we're 500 feet away or more from these centers. You're not going to be able to hear. That's all I have.
Mike, I'm gonna go back to the, to here.
Got somebody?
Yeah, I do. Landon, did you have anything to add? If so, please unmute. Landon? I'll give you another second there. Okay, guess not. And then call in user number 2. Do you have anything to add? If so, please unmute. Okay.
Nothing else? We'll close the public comments. So.
I'm gonna get back to your agenda, you guys. Okay, as you know, last time during your meeting, you tabled any decisions. Back in the February 17th meeting, you tabled the meeting regarding the determination of zoning district. Do I have a vote to?
So I would entertain a motion to open or to lift the tabling of the decision at this time.
I'll second.
Second by Monica. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Discussion's back open on the rezoning of district for case ZC 25-01.
Okay, do you want me to share with you the video or anything that Brian's saying yes, so I do have video of, I'm gonna share with you what just Stellantis has sent me. The first site here is from Union, Iowa, when they were out here. They drove by. Shut down. And they were right there. They were probably about to start. They were probably about 70 feet away. They were at the center of the gravel road, which is a north-south gravel road. I don't know what the winds were that day. You could hear Mr. and Mrs. Stillmunkis in the car with their phone talking. A little bit.
Exhaust side?
That was the exhaust side. Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go to when Mary and I was out there on the 28th.
So what's the decibel over here? 95, well, right here, it's the same as inside. I know I was curious. Yeah.
We were right on top of them. It's gonna be loud. We were right there in front of it. You wouldn't expect anything different, right, Mary? I mean, we were this far away from the fans. It's gonna be loud. When we were out, this is probably in the middle of the road.
But the fans are blowing right in it. Yeah. Right here. What was your decibel reading? What was your decibel reading here when we were outside 84?
Mind you, we were about 60, 70 feet away. The winds were sustained 25 miles an hour with gusts over 45 miles an hour. So not a great representation of what that's normally going to sound like. And mind you, we were 60 feet away. We have some that were a little further. And mind you, they were very accommodating to us. They were answered all of our questions.
Probably about 100 feet away from that. We were here in Squeaky Berries. And we're gonna try to get on the.
No, hang on here. That we're gonna go back to later. That's not that site. So what I am gonna go back to is the Stillmunkis's, St. Anthony site. So this is, we didn't stop there or get out of our car. We were just there. This is what Stillmunkis has heard.
This is approximately 600 foot away. The sound is definitely noticeable.
You guys get the idea there. I'm gonna go back to the one where Mary and I were. And this is gonna be and Dale, your measurements were right. I measured them on online maps. You're about 600 feet away. Real close to the distance that the Rowlands are. And I think this video is actually at the same spot.
These are the hunters. Yeah, I'm saying this is a leased unit and not a. Wonder if they're also getting this.
So we were in the same spot that you had your video going. Mind you, same day, 25 mile an hour winds, 45 mile an hour wind gust. But we could still hear those squeaks where we were. I will go back to one other.
We're probably about 100 feet away from that. We were here in Squeaky Berries. And we're gonna try to get on the exhaust side of it, see if they're different. Only part of our so they probably have.
What we were saying is only about half the fans were probably running.
But That's something. New piece doesn't need.
So we did do our due diligence. We went on site, we got good information. Aram, is that how you say the company's
Aram,
name?
yes.
Aram was very accommodating. They were very kind, very, very easy to work with. As far as getting an appointment and going out, we appreciate that. They showed us where their e-waste went. They had a specific container designated just for the computers that, the servers that they were having to get rid of. The site, that particular site was clean. I mean, they both were decent.
I would say a side note that everything that you guys heard with the bearings are from belts and bearings. And that is not what is going to be put in this facility. It's going to be put in direct drive motors. So you shouldn't have to hear that. We're not that either. We know that we create issues in communities. So we're in the process of cleaning this up.
Okay, I reached out to a neighbor of the Union site, the first one that we went to. And the gentleman I called lived a half-mile away. Mary and I were looking to see if we could find anybody outside their residences when we were there. And mind you, the wind was out of the west when we were there, and the closest residents were to the west. So at that point, the wind was helping the sound. However, I reached out to a neighbor that's a half-mile away, to the west, and he said that he can hear in the morning what sounds like a freight train or a tractor running. And that's in the morning. However, when they're on the back side of their house, everything is fine. I reached out, there's a new plant going up, a new one in Gilman. Is that, do you mind if I ask him a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. White, there's a new one in Gilman that's going up, and that's gonna be water cooled.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
I am not aware of what the Gilman's going to be.
Okay,
So,
may I ask questions to Mr. Barrick for you guys?
I guess, yeah, that's fine.
JP, could we ask you some direct questions, please?
Sure.
Okay, I had contact with some people from Gilman, one gentleman in particular, Mr. Thompson. He lives a half-mile away, and there's a new Bitcoin operation that's going up there. Is it operational yet?
Yeah, the facility is half operational. The air cooled, which is almost about the size of what's being proposed here today, has been running since late January.
Okay, according to that neighbor who is a half-mile away, I measured it online using the Hardin County beacon site, and he's gonna be right at a half-mile away. And he reported that it just sounds like a tractor running all the time, 24 hours a day. And that's an a water-cooled site, JP?
That site's air cooled at what was running up until actually today. So it was just air cooled running.
Okay, and now it's water-cooled?
There's a separate unit that's being installed, so now it's a mixture of both. But at the time of that comment, it was only air cooled.
Okay. I'm just gonna take a note of that, please. I just need a second. And that was a new system, and they were a half-mile away. And do those units face that little area where like that radio tower is, the exhaust?
I'm trying to pull up the GIS, but I can't speak specifically to it until I pull it up.
You can see, we just want to get some good information to share with our commission.
So here's my concern. We don't have a data mining ordinance out there. Right now, we have to go with what is in our ordinance right now. So unfortunately, with the noise, we don't have anything.
Correct.
That being said, I would like to propose that that this remain as an A1. My concern with this is that what is being proposed to be put on there doesn't belong in an agricultural setting.
Correct.
I am going to make a motion that we remain this property as ag one or as ag related. I don't know if there's a second out there, but I'll second that.
That the use you believe is
I
ag use.
believe it should be an ag use.
Okay. So,
That it should remain an ag one.
oh, okay, so you're thinking it needs, the use does?
Well, I think the zoning should remain as ag. What is being proposed, looking at what our ordinance states, what is being proposed to be put there should belong in an industrial zone, either an M1 or an M2.
Okay,
And so I made the motion that this remain as an ag one. Is an agricultural A1 ag zoned property.
okay,
Does anybody have?
And I would second that.
Mary seconds.
Okay.
Discussion on that motion?
good. So I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah.
So you think the actual use is A1, or you think this land should not be rezoned to anything other than?
I don't think it should be rezoned to anything other than A1.
Okay,
I think it should stay as an A1.
okay. What do you feel
I,
the use of the operation is? Because you have two things to do here.
Right.
One is, what is the use of this type of operation? Would it be ag, industrial, M1 or M2?
I think that is industrial.
Okay,
So I guess my proposal is to leave the existing zoning as A1 ag.
okay. So I have a suggested motion for every scenario here. Do you want to use that suggested motion?
I need to look, I need to look at it again.
It's the last page in the.
Yep. Yeah,
What the way I read it is, the motion was to leave it as A1 and then allow the Board of Adjustment to set the appropriate special exemptions for this type of
Yes.
operation.
yes, but I
That's the way I'm
think,
just reading quote.
Wait,
I am making a motion that we recommend to the Board of Supervisors that this remains an A1.
But do we have to designate what we believe the appropriate zoning would be for this?
I would say yes, because you're tasked with, according to this, your job is to any proposed use not covered in this ordinance as permitted use or special exception. You are looking to make a recommendation of the proper district for this use. So what is the proper district for this use would be your first determination?
Okay, so my first determination, okay, let me withdraw my motion then. I would consider this, and I would make a motion that this should either belong in an M1 or an M2. And I think M1 is the light industrial, so I would think that this would belong in an M1.
Okay,
M1 requires though it be enclosed, and this isn't enclosed.
So
actually, it is enclosed.
will
Everything would be inside.
So the pods aren't in a building now.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
What's inside the pods is enclosed.
Okay.
Oh, here, let me share something else with you real quick. Just, I apologize. That's the inside of the building, you guys.
That's one of your, I mean.
Everything,
No, ma'am, this is the one in Union. Yeah,
so everything is.
everything's inside. Yep, all that's inside, other than the storage. There was containers out there. But there's no computer sitting outside.
Nothing sitting outside.
Yes. So you're thinking this is an industrial zone?
I think this is an industrial, is what I really think that this belongs in.
Okay,
So we have a second on that motion?
then your next question is this an appropriate
And
area?
then we have to vote on that first.
Well, you can do it as
We're
two.
in discussion. We're in
Okay,
discussion.
all right.
Okay, go ahead.
So, okay, so your question is, go ahead and vote on
Okay,
that.
so, so
Well, we're.
we
We discussed that after we made a second, right?
yes.
Go ahead, Monica.
No, that was just, I really believe that with our zoning, that what is being proposed for the use is actually belongs in an M1. Is what I think that this really falls under.
And then allow the Board of Adjustment to set the appropriate
Well,
special exceptions?
no, I guess we need to determine that first.
So now we need to either rezone it.
Yes.
Or leave it as
A1.
A1. Yeah. Right. Do you think, okay, so you think this is an M1 operation? Or, okay, as industrial operation? Do you think this is a good location for an M1 location? Do you think this land is conducive to being rezoned to an industrial classification or industrial zoning?
No.
I think you just answered your questions.
Number one, in the permitted principal uses and structures, right in there, it says no offensive noise.
Yep, that's right in your M1. Yep. Up front, on top, and then in your M2, about the same thing. The general industrial district is intended primarily for heavy manufacturing and closely related uses while providing protections against harmful effects to existing and future uses in other districts, which would be your neighboring districts like A1 or R1, C1. So it is. You have a motion there or,
Motion in a second,
okay,
change it to
We'll leave it, yeah,
M1 or M2.
but that's
I
the,
don't know what,
I think your motion was that was the appropriate use, but not necessarily, we didn't get to that part yet. Because the appropriate use, Monica, you said is,
I think it's an M1.
okay, so is this the appropriate district? Or the appropriate area to rezone to M1 is your second,
No, my
Part of
second
this.
part of this is no, this is not an appropriate area and that it should remain as an A1.
okay? I have a possible, like I said, I have all the ifs, ands, or buts drawn out
You're
here.
right, you do. So I'll make a motion that the type of use.
okay, so we're withdrawing that.
Okay,
previous one.
withdrawing that previous one.
Okay.
And, the type of use proposed is best zoned under an M1 and that this area is not suitable for an M1. And that we recommend to the Board of Supervisors to keep this zone to A1 and deny the application for special exception use.
And I will second that motion.
Is there any more further discussion on that? Safe for speed, now's the time to do so. Now we'll call for a vote.
Okay, do roll call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Monica McHugh,
Yes.
Christine Cobb,
Yes.
Brian Benema,
Yes.
Emery Key,
Yes.
Sandra Gerlach,
Yes.
Mike Burke,
Yes. You gotta call Tom.
Tom Stewart,
Abstain.
You should vote carries.
So the motion is, the commission has determined the type of use proposed is best zone under M1. The commission determined that this area is not suitable for M1. And for these reasons, recommend the Board of Supervisors keep this zone A1 and deny the application for special exception use.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay,
So that goes to the board of supervisors that way now
that will go to the Board of Supervisors with that motion for their decision.
for their decision.
Yeah.
What they want. Okay,
And
so. When will I go to the board already?
I'm not sure. I don't think I can't get it tomorrow. I'm probably gonna have to go next week.
Can you let us know?
It'll be on the agenda. But yes, I can.
Yeah. Thank you, Lori.
Yep, and, so next on here is,
Well, Tom gets back.
Oh, Tom gets to come.
Tom gets back. Tom?
Yeah, can I come back on that?
Just, could you please explain in layman's terms what the A1 with the no exceptions means in layman's terms? So that I can understand, please? I hate to bother you, but it really would be helpful.
You wanna,
so
We get it right?
what the commission has just said, they feel this is best zoned A1 as it is.
Which is just what it's zoned right now.
Even though they feel that this usage is best done under an industrial zoning. They do not feel that this is the appropriate area to rezone to an industrial zoning.
Rhonda, are you asking what the A's and the M's mean?
I know what the A is it main agriculture, but M is manufacturing.
Yeah, industrial
So
manufacturing.
what does
yes.
it mean with no exceptions? What's that?
What it said is, they recommend to the Board of Supervisors to keep this zone A1 and deny the application for special exception use.
So they were applying for an extra
Special exception.
special exemption use for that property. And they have been denied at
Okay,
this time.
thank you. That just helps me.
Yeah, and I want to say that, just one comment on this, that everybody should understand that this is a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. I've been on this board a long time, and normally they follow our recommendation, but that doesn't mean they're going to. So it's in the supervisor's court.
Thank you all.
Mike, do you want to address me on?
Yeah, we'll address, yeah.
So just real quick, if JP does not like this decision, how long does he have to approve the decision?
Oh, I don't know any of that.
I believe it's 30 days.
Okay, 30 days?
And the board hasn't, the zoning, the Board of Supervisors hasn't made their findings yet. And I will verify that. I don't get a lot of them to the Board of Supervisors, but sometimes I need to review a little bit, okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on to our next agenda item, looks like items with the commission, other business.
No, I'm supposed to be working on your utility scale solar. I haven't had the opportunity. There's been other dumpster fires I've been working on. And then being sick again last week, you guys. I don't know what crud I keep getting into, but
don't share it, please.
I know, I won't. So next meeting,
So next meeting, yeah.
okay, so we're looking at April 21st. And we'll be moving our meetings in April.
Water, please.
We'll be
Still a
moving,
meeting here.
we'll be moving our meetings in April to 7 p.m.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, so we said April 21st.
yes, sir.
Okay. Any other business? You got anything new business? Here? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. Okay, thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
It's quickly under your, leadership. He was.
You're fine. I haven't logged out.
Like how we did for.